Meanwhile, the war in West Asia has put Europe on high alert. Last night, a gunman killed 2 Swedes in Brussels, the capital of Belgium. The man is suspected to have extremist motives. Now, both Sweden and Brussels are on high alert. Then you have France. Their President Emmanuel Macron has said, and I'm quoting, "Europe has been shaken." A few days ago, a teacher in France was stabbed to death. The killer had a record of Islamic radicalization, and since then, France too has been on its highest terror alert. And now Macron wants to carry out a review. He wants to identify foreigners with a record of radicalism and to determine who can be expelled from the country. Our next report tells you more.
Last night, Belgium and Sweden were playing a much-awaited football match. It was being held in Brussels, the capital of Belgium, but it was abruptly abandoned. 35,000 fans were stuck inside the stadium for several hours. Why? Because about 5 kilometers away, a man had opened fire. The gunman was in Belgium illegally. He was of Tunisian origin. He was seen getting off a scooter near a cafe. Armed with an assault rifle, he attacked people inside. He targeted Swedish football fans who were in town. Now, 2 Swedes have died and a 3rd person has been injured.
I live nearby and I'm staggered to find out that this happened right here.
Well, now I'm actually starting to feel a bit more threatened since, as I understand, these people didn't have anything to do with any of... they were just normal Swedes watching a football game.
The gunman identified himself as a member of the Islamic State. After the stunning viciousness, he simply got back on his scooter and sped off, leading to an overnight manhunt, which ended today after he was shot dead by the police. Now, Brussels is on its highest terror alert.
Terrorists have to understand that they will never succeed in this mission. They will never subdue our free society. With their hate and violence, they show above all their powerlessness. Terrorism will never beat us.
Sweden too has raised its terror alert to the 2nd highest level. But is raising terror alert levels enough?
This awful terrorist attack that happened yesterday in Brussels. It only shows that the Europeans, we need to step up our security. And defense is part of our security.
Since the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war, the threat of hate crimes has been looming large. Across the UK, US, France, Germany, Australia and other countries, such incidents have seen an uptick. The US had heightened its security weeks ago, yet this weekend, a 6-year-old Palestinian boy was stabbed to death. He was stabbed 26 times. A similar thing happened with France as well. Despite increased security, last week, a teacher was brutally murdered by a former student. The killer had a record of Islamic radicalization. Now, France has been on its highest terror alert since, but it wants to do more. The French administration is to carry out a review. This is to determine the number of foreigners with a record of radicalism and who among them can be expelled from the country. Some critics have called this plan short-sighted. They say it could stigmatize a particular community. This comes at a time when anti-Semitic incidents fueled by neo-Nazis and white supremacists have also seen a rise. Last week, France recorded over 100 anti-Semitic incidents. For the whole of last year, the number stood at 436. More than 2,000 cases of anti-Semitic speech were reported last week. But how much can pondering over dossiers help France? The Israel-Hamas war rages on. There is no end in sight, at least for now. But the West is hoping it can put the brakes on this wave of war-fueled hate crimes.